Hi everyone, Adam here, and I'm going to give my thoughts on The Last of Us Episode 9, and this episode's titled Look for the Light. As always, Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey star, and also starring in this episode is Mel Dandridge, Ashley Johnson, and directed by Ali Abassi. So this episode starts off with a woman in the forest just about to give birth, trying to escape from infected, making her way to a cabin in the woods. She's able to give birth, but she does get bit, but she's able to dispatch the infected before. As we find out, this is actually Ellie's mother. When Marlene finds who the woman's name is, Anna makes her take the baby and also asks Marlene to kill her, as she does want to become one of the infected, which Marlene does. And this was an interesting scene. If you played The Last of Us, the voice is recognizable, and the voice is Ashley Johnson, who plays Ellie in the video game. So it's kind of a nice touch that they have her basically giving birth to Ellie, and Marlene does end up killing her in the end. So we do flash forward back to Joel and Ellie on their way to the hospital, on the way to the Fireflies. And it's good to see the pun book back as well, with Joel and Ellie having to walk through the city. We get a recreation of what's become one of the iconic moments of the video games, and anyone who's played the game will probably agree that this is probably one of the best moments, when Ellie and Joel come across some giraffes, and it looks exactly the way it does in the game. Them looking out onto the field, and even the dialogue is the same. Is it everything you hoped for? And Ellie's response. And that's the thing about this episode, it does follow pretty much the last, I'd say, chapter of the game pretty closely, which isn't a bad thing. But on the way, Joel and Ellie are ambushed by a couple of soldiers and taken to the hospital, where we once again meet up with Marlene, who explained to soldiers who didn't know who Joel and Ellie were. But then we find out that Ellie has been taken into surgery. This is where we find out why Ellie is immune. But the problem is, to get the cure, they have to take from the brain, which will kill Ellie. But as you know, and if you've been watching the series, you pretty much know Joel by now, he does not want to let that happen, and he'll do anything to save her violently if he has to. Which he does, dispatching several soldiers along the way until he makes it to the surgery, brutally shooting the doctor and taking Ellie away. But he runs into Marlene in the car park, who tries to convince him that it's not a good idea. People will still come after him. And he pretty much dispatches Marlene as well. Okay, so basically it ends the same as the game as well, with Joel and Ellie walking, and Ellie opening up to Joel about Riley. Joel opened up to Ellie about Sarah. But then we get the moment where Ellie asks Joel if everything he said about the Fireflies was true. Tells him to swear. But as we know, basically Joel is flat out lying to her. Yeah, and that's the thing about this, is Joel just being selfish. Could you sacrifice one person to save pretty much millions? And of course, it's like he doesn't want to lose pretty much another daughter again, because that's pretty much how I think he sees Ellie in a way. This was still a very good episode. Like I said before, it does follow the game, the ending of the game, pretty closely. Some dialogue is exactly the same. addition of the birthing scene was a nice touch. We get basically an explanation as to why Ellie is immune. So find out the origin of the knife. But overall, as a fan of the game, I think this has been a really good adaptation. It does, in a way, has the feel of the game. And of course, the performances by the two leads, Bella Ramsey and Pedro Pascal, I think have been fantastic. And even the supporting cast, especially in the third episode of Long Time with Nick Offerman and as Bill and Murray Bartlett as Frank. And that was probably the episode that deviated the most for the game, and it's been considered one of the standout episodes as well. And even though I think if you've watched this series, you know, not to become attached to a lot of supporting characters, because if you've watched it, I'm sure you have if you're watching this, they don't last long. I mean, but everyone did their role so well. Like Anna Torv as Tess, Gauze, Lamar Johnson, and Kevin Woodard as Henry and Sam. And the production design in the show is great too. It captures a feel of the game, basically of a devastated world. So some people have criticised that there's not enough of the infected, but I kind of like the fact that they don't overdo it, because I've been more interested in the characters. I mean, we've had a couple of scenes with the infected, you know, the clicker scene and the bloater, but I kind of like they've held back on not doing it too much. I know some people might not disagree with that, but I got to say, this show's more about the characters while still being about the pandemic. This series has been fantastic. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they do with Series 2. So what did you think of The Last of Us TV show? Like, comment, subscribe. I'm Adam, and I'll see you again soon.